My favorite part of the job is getting everyone back up and functioning just so that they can resume back into their life. Being able to say, I helped 200 people in 45 minutes is a pretty nice thing to be able to do.
My favorite part is when I finally finish up in a neighborhood and get that services back up and running. You know, a lot of times you're probably standing outside and cheering us on as we're working to try to help us out with snacks and water. And just as soon as we finish doing that last tie-in and the services come back up and they're cheering for us, you know, that's kind of the best part about it.
You know, our customers, they rely on us. This is what defines us, right? You know, customers, they have choices, and when they see us put in efforts like this to get them back online, it makes the customers feel like we value them, because we do.
Restoring the critical services to customers makes me feel great. It's one of those ones, same thing with my teammates. Anytime we can get people back up and going as fast as possible, definitely makes me feel good about that.
The team at Comcast is totally dedicated to our customers in the community. I couldn't be happier with the work that our team is doing. Rallying together, working together.